What happens when a forbidden love ignites in the darkest place imaginable and someone uncovers it? Deep inside a maximum security prison in Colorado, a guard and an inmate forged a bond that never should have existed. It began with fleeting glances, then small favors, then stolen nights. With the cameras disabled, their secret romance stayed hidden, until one night it wasn't. Someone saw them, and just weeks later, someone was dead. Was it revenge? Blackmail gone wrong? Or love twisted into something deadly? The prison walls were built to lock people in, but they couldn't contain the secret. When the truth broke free, it rocked the system, exposing not just a relationship, but a web of corruption festering beneath. This is the story of a scandal they tried to bury, a murder they couldn't hide, and two men caught in a whirlwind of passion, shame, and betrayal. You won't believe how it ends. Sterling Correctional Facility stood like a fortress in the desolate plains of Colorado, a cold slab of concrete surrounded by razor-sharp barbed wire and relentless winds sweeping down from the Rockies. For most, it was a place of punishment, a relentless grind of isolation and regret. For some, it was a living hell. But for Jake Larson, it was just a job, steady, routine, predictable. Jake was 34, an ex-Army veteran with a clean-cut look and a disciplined demeanor. He wasn't the type to chat much or crack a smile. He clocked in, followed protocol, and went home to his small apartment alone. That was his rhythm, and he liked it until Ryan Carter. Ryan had been locked up for 3 years, serving a 10-year sentence for manslaughter after a bar brawl in Denver turned fatal. At 29, with warm hazel eyes and a quiet intensity, he stood out among the other inmates. He wasn't loud, didn't stir trouble, and seemed out of place in the harsh world of Sterling, like he didn't belong, at least not in Jake's eyes. Their interactions started small, passing nods, brief glances during head counts. But something shifted one bitter winter night on Jake's shift in Block C. It was freezing, colder than usual, with the heating system in the wings sputtering out again. Inmates were shivering in their cells, their breaths visible in the dim light. Jake walked the line, flashlight in hand, checking each cell, mentally logging every detail. Then he saw Ryan, sitting upright on his bunk, a thin blanket pulled tight around his shoulders, lips trembling slightly from the cold. Jake stopped, his boots scuffing the concrete floor. "You okay?" he asked, his voice low, almost swallowed by the silence of the block. Ryan looked up, his hazel eyes catching the faint glow of the flashlight, and nodded. "Yeah, just cold." That should have been the end of it. Just another night, just another inmate. But something in Ryan's voice, calm and resigned, not demanding or complaining, struck a chord Jake didn't expect. It wasn't pity he felt, but something deeper, something human. An hour later, Jake returned, an extra blanket tucked under his arm. He didn't say a word, just slid it through the bars of Ryan's cell and kept walking. No one saw. No one needed to. From that night on, they noticed each other more. Jake started assigning Ryan small tasks, cleaning the admin wing, a privilege reserved for inmates who kept their noses clean. It wasn't much. Sweeping floors, wiping down windows, sorting supply closets. But those tasks carved out quiet moments where no one else was watching. At first, their conversations were harmless. Ryan would ask about the Denver Broncos' latest game, or what life was like beyond the barbed wire. Jake kept his answers short, professional, but over time, the walls came down. Short replies turned into dry humor, humor into personal stories, stories into something neither could name but both felt. There was a moment, fleeting but electric, when their hands brushed while passing a mop. Neither acknowledged it, but neither forgot it. Jake knew the line he was crossing. It wasn't just that Ryan was an inmate. It was the weight of what it meant, his job, his reputation, what society would say if they knew. But despite the risk, something kept pulling him closer. Ryan didn't push, didn't flirt, didn't manipulate. He just listened, looked at Jake like he was more than a uniform, more than a cog in the prison machine. That look, it was enough to unravel Jake's carefully controlled world. Weeks passed, each moment building on the last, until the first night that changed everything. It was 2:18 a.m., the prison silent except for the hum of fluorescent lights. Most inmates were asleep, and the other guards were either dozing at their posts or scrolling their phones. Jake walked the corridor as usual, his boots echoing softly. At the surveillance panel, he paused, glanced around, and unplugged the feed to cell C14. Ryan's cell. His heart pounded, but his hands were steady. 5 minutes later, he was inside. They didn't touch it first, just sat close, whispering like teenagers sneaking out past curfew. They talked about nothing and everything: movies, childhood dreams, the mountains. Time slipped away too fast, and when Jake left, his pulse was racing, his mind alive with something he hadn't felt in years. The second time, there was a kiss, tentative, quick, but undeniable. From there, it became a routine. Every few nights, Jake would kill the camera, slip into Ryan's cell, and for a few stolen hours, they weren't guard and inmate. They were just two people in a place that offered no room for softness. They were careful. Jake kept their interactions brief, never brought his phone, never left the camera off for too long. He made sure no one else was on shift during his rounds. But Sterling was a machine, and no machine runs perfectly forever. On Thursday, February 9th, something broke. Ethan Brooks, a fellow guard, had worked the day shift. Ethan was rough around the edges, the kind of guy who cut corners, skimmed paperwork, and always had an excuse. That afternoon, he'd left early, claiming a stomach bug, forgetting a manila folder of shift reports that needed filing. At 10:27 p.m., long after the admin wing had shut down, Ethan's pickup rolled back into the facility's side lot. He didn't clock in, didn't announce himself. He just used his master key, slipped through the west entrance, and headed toward the office wing to grab his folder. Halfway down the hall, he heard voices, low, familiar. He stopped, moving silently toward the admin break room. The door was slightly ajar. Through the gap, he saw shadows, two of them, one seated, one standing. As he stepped closer, the hallway lights caught something unmistakable. Jake Larson, standing too close to inmate Ryan Carter, his hand resting on Ryan's knee. Ethan froze. Jake turned slightly, just enough for Ethan to see the look in his eyes. Soft, unguarded, wrong. Then Ethan glanced up. The security camera above the door was unplugged. He didn't say a word. He backed away, phone already in hand, the camera app recording. 10 seconds. That was all he needed. No audio, just Jake and Ryan in the wrong place at the wrong time, with the camera mysteriously off. Ethan ended the video, grabbed his folder, and slipped out. But before he left, he doubled back, plugged the camera back in, deleted the footage from the system, and copied the backup file to his personal USB. To Jake, it would seem like just another night. But someone had seen, and someone now held the power to destroy everything. Ethan couldn't sleep that night. He lay in his trailer, staring at the ceiling, his phone's glow lighting his face as he watched the video over and over. Jake Larson, Mr. Perfect, the guard who made everyone else look lazy just by doing his job, now caught with an inmate. Unbelievable, but real. Ethan had power now, real power, the kind that could ruin someone. He wasn't going to waste it. The next day, Ethan showed up to work like nothing had happened, fresh uniform, coffee in hand, nodding at Jake across the security office. Jake nodded back, calm as ever, unaware. That was the beauty of it, Ethan thought. Jake had no idea. Ethan didn't strike immediately. He savored it, watched Jake, waited. Then he made his move. It started with a note left in Jake's locker. Cameras back on. I saw you. You know what I saw? No name, no signature. Jake froze when he read it, his hands going cold, his breath catching. He scanned the empty locker room, crumpled the note, and shoved it into his pocket. Who could have seen? He retraced that night, the unplugged camera, the walk down the hall, the time with Ryan. He'd been careful, double-checked the camera light. Then it hit him, the panel. He hadn't checked it after leaving. Someone must have come in later. A guard, maybe a janitor. His stomach twisted. Ethan. The next time he saw Ethan, the older guard was leaning against the break room vending machine, sipping a Dr. Pepper like it was any other Tuesday. Hey, Jake, he said casually. How's the graveyard shift treating you? Jake swallowed hard. Same as always. Ethan smirked. Yeah, routine can be a killer, huh? That smirk, the glint in his eyes, confirmed it. Ethan knew. Jake said nothing, just walked out. He didn't sleep that night. Every time he closed his eyes, he saw Ethan smirk, heard those words, wondered if Ethan had told anyone, wondered how long he had before his life imploded. But it didn't, not yet. Instead, Ethan waited, then sent the next message, a text from an unknown number. Still sleeping with inmates, Officer Larson? Or should I share the tape with Warden Hayes? Jake stared at the screen for a full minute before typing. What do you want? The reply was instant. Cash. $500 by Friday. Locker 42 at the gym. No questions. Jake felt sick. 500 wasn't much, but it wasn't about the money. It was the proof Ethan had something, and he was willing to use it. Friday came. Jake left the cash in locker 42. It was gone within the hour. No one said anything. No cameras caught it. His secret stayed safe, for now. But the silence didn't last. The next week, another text. $1,000. Same place. You're welcome. This one hurt. Jake drained his savings, sold a few tools, lied to his bank, but he paid. Ethan's smirk never left, lingering every time they passed at work. It was unbearable, seeping into Jake's job. He grew distracted, snapped at inmates, botched logs. One night, he nearly locked himself in a utility closet while fixing a jammed door. Ryan noticed. You okay? He asked quietly one evening while mopping the admin hallway. Jake nodded too fast. Fine. Just tired. Ryan wasn't fooled. You've been off all week. Jake glanced around, no one nearby. You ever make a mistake, he whispered, and live in fear of someone finding out? Ryan's eyes softened. Every day since I got here. Jake gave a bitter smile. Yeah, figured. Ryan didn't push, just nodded and returned to work, but his gaze lingered, and that scared Jake more. Someone else knew something was wrong. The third message wasn't about money. You're on medical escort Thursday. Swap shifts with Terry. I need to move some things. Don't ask. Jake's jaw clenched. Ethan wanted favors now, shady shift changes. Was it drugs? Contraband? This wasn't just blackmail, it was control. Jake hated it but did it, swapped shifts, signed the paperwork, stayed silent. That Thursday, Ethan took Jake's route and no one questioned it. Ethan was getting bolder, sloppier, untouchable. Jake decided he needed to know what Ethan had. He waited for the right moment. Monday night, 11:45 p.m., Ethan's shift ended early. He left his phone charging in the locker room, as usual, during his smoke break. Jake slipped in, heart pounding. The phone wasn't locked. Ethan's arrogance. Jake opened the photo app, found it. February 9th, 10:32 p.m. A 10-second video, no audio, but clear, Jake and Ryan, too close, the implications screaming. He watched it twice, then emailed it to himself, deleted the sent mail, wiped the phone, and left. In his car that night, Jake sat for an hour, the clip unopened in his inbox. He didn't delete it, didn't use it, just needed it. Proof, leverage, a reminder he wasn't helpless. But the pressure didn't ease. The fourth message came. Package Wednesday. Kitchen storage. No delays. Jake knew it was drugs. If caught, it wasn't just his job, it was prison time. He picked up the small, unmarked package during his lunch break, hands trembling, and left it in the kitchen's dry goods closet.
Done.
But it never felt done. That night, Jake sat in his car, fists clenched against the steering wheel. How had one moment of weakness, one connection led to this? Ethan, a lazy guard who cut corners, now controlled his life. Jake thought of quitting, but Ethan would still have the video. His reputation, pension, everything gone. For what? Love? No, it was more than that. Ryan saw him, understood him, gave him peace in a world that offered none. Ryan noticed the change. Jake stopped talking, stopped visiting during late shifts. One night, Ryan cornered him in the storage room. Tell me what's going on. Jake jumped. You shouldn't be here. Screw that. What's wrong? Jake hesitated, then whispered. Someone saw us. Filmed it. They're blackmailing me, money, now packages, probably drugs. Ryan cursed. Tell someone. I can't. If this gets out, I lose everything. Ryan's voice softened. Then fight back. But fighting wasn't easy. Another message came. Another drop. Maintenance. Don't screw it up. Jake didn't reply. He considered confronting Ethan, but with what? The copied video? Ethan had the original, probably backups. Going to the warden would mean admitting he broke the law. Then Ethan approached in person in the locker room, tossing a protein bar casually. Got a job for you, he said. Kitchen needs new air vent filters. Say you found a rat, file a maintenance report, get me into the crawl space. Jake stood. What's in the vent, Ethan? Don't ask. I'm done. Ethan's smile faded. No, you're not. You're in too deep. I've got more than the video. You think people won't believe you dragged Carter into this for more than kisses? Jake froze. Ethan leaned closer. You're mine now. That night, Jake drove to a bridge outside town, staring at the water below, wondering if letting go would end it all. But Ryan's face, his calm, human gaze, pulled him back. At home, he downloaded the video, watching it again, not for revenge, but for resolve. Something had to break. Friday, 6:40 a.m., a surprise locker check. Jake's blood ran cold. Inside his locker, a lunch bag, gloves, a flashlight, and the USB with a video, hidden in a zippered pouch. The warden's assistant started checking, but was interrupted by a fight in Block B. Jake grabbed the USB, tucked it into his sock, and left. At home, his hands shook. He was slipping, shift logs were messy, he'd missed a debrief, ignored emails. He was being watched. Ethan's next message, duct cleared by Thursday, or I release everything. Jake drank that night. Whiskey, no ice, no food. He watched the video, saw himself, saw Ryan, and cried. The next day, he called in sick, drove aimlessly, then hatched a plan. Saturday night, Ethan left work early, stopping at a liquor store. Jake followed, parking 2 blocks from Ethan's rundown duplex. At 10:45 p.m., Ethan's porch light went off. Jake knocked twice, no answer, then again. The door creaked open, unlocked. Inside, Ethan slouched on the couch, vodka bottle in hand, TV muttering a Broncos game recap. Took you long enough, Ethan slurred, smirking. Here to beg. Jake didn't speak, just stepped inside, the door clicking shut. I didn't make you a prisoner, Ethan taunted. You did that yourself. Something snapped. Jake didn't remember grabbing the bottle. Only the sound, Thick, wet, final. Ethan slumped, neck twisted, blood pooling. Jake walked out, drove to Sterling, placed the USB on the warden's desk, and waited. At 3:02 a.m., police found Ethan dead. Blunt force trauma, no robbery, just a shattered bottle. By 5:47 a.m., Warden Hayes found the USB. The 10-second clip played. Jake and Ryan. Too close. Undeniable. Caleb didn't resist arrest, repeating, "It's over." Detectives found Ethan's safe, filled with surveillance clips. Not just Jake and Ryan, but guards slacking, ignored fights, improper searches. Ethan had a blackmail library, including a longer clip of Jake and Ryan from a hidden feed. In interrogation, Jake admitted the affair and blackmail but stayed calm. Ryan, in isolation for safety, confirmed their consensual relationship, denying any role in the murder or smuggling. The media erupted. Colorado prison scandal. Guard inmate affair. Murder. Jake faced charges: manslaughter, tampering with surveillance, fraternization, smuggling. He took a plea, 12 years, parole in 8. Ryan was moved to a low-security facility, released 2 years later. In prison, Jake endured as the disgraced guard, refusing protective custody. Letters from Ryan kept him going. Still here, still breathing. Jake worked in the prison library, read voraciously, wrote journals. Ryan, free, worked in a furniture shop, waiting. In Jake's 8th year, a package arrived, leaves of grass, with a note. Mariners Reach, Oregon. I'll be waiting. Jake got parole, took a bus west, and found Ryan leaning against a pickup. You waited, Jake said. Ryan smiled. You came. They rebuilt slowly, walks, coffee, shared silences. In Mariner's Reach, they were just 2 men, living, loving, free. The past lingered but didn't haunt. Over coffee, Jake asked, "Do you think about it?" Ryan nodded. Yeah, but not like before. Me neither, Jake said. Something real, even in a fake place. They didn't need rings, just a vow. Whatever comes next, we face it together.